Free Speech News here, and we have more and more evidence of election fraud coming out each day. The corrupt politicians, the deep state, they can no longer run and hide. We, the people, are here to stay. We, the people, are not going anywhere. And I want to go over this lawsuit by Sidney Powell. Now, in my opinion, Sidney Powell needs to file in Pennsylvania. Because in Pennsylvania, besides Doug Mastriano trying to get their power back, what Rudy Giuliani is doing, I'm sorry, but it does not look good. When you read the complaints of Sidney Powell, it blows your mind. She is one good lawyer. She explains, she researched, she's using the deep state, the mainstream media, the politician, Democrats' own words against them. They also reported on Dominion year after year about the security, but now everything was fine. I want to point this out in the Michigan lawsuit. It's also in the Georgia lawsuit. But it says, an analyst of the Dominion software system by a former U.S. military intelligence expert. Very interesting there. Software system. What software and where did they get it? Interesting. Concludes that the system and software have been accessible and were certainly compromised by rogue actors such as Iran and China. Now that's very interesting as well, because Trump's executive order might come into play. And it also says access to their infrastructure in order to monitor and manipulate elections, including the most recent one in 2020. This is huge, people. And she is a killer. Sidney Powell does not mess around. And she does the research. She knows her facts. And she has great affidavits. She has great experts that are doing the analytics. And I believe her cases are the strongest through the courts. But I hope some of these legislators can step it up a little bit. Besides Pennsylvania and Doug Mastriano, they really need to step it up. This is not time for joking around. We do not have time to waste. We, the people, have to go after this full force. And we must not back down. And we have this Dominion system, which has decimals in their algorithms. There should not be no decimals. There should be a straight whole number. When you vote, you don't vote 1.5, 1.2. You vote 1. And Sidney Powell did her research. She also has a great expert. So that right there was used to manipulate votes. It's plain and simple. The evidence is right in front of you. We have 4 spikes in Michigan, totaling 384,733 ballots. In an interval of 2 hours and 38 minutes for 4 precincts. And Mr. Ramsland analysis of the voting machines available, he determined the maximum process capability during this period was only 94,867. Now that's a big margin there. Approximately 154,180 votes are compromised. The evidence they have is staggering. And the deep state, the corrupt politicians, they can hide no longer. We have a Dr. Briggs report, which was conducted November 15th through the 17th. And this covered voters in Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. And all they did was call people, simply by calling people. They found thousands of errors. People who sent their ballots out was unreturned, didn't request a ballot, got one. And it's terrible. It's terrible. We have at Detroit, the TCF Center, a little before 4:30 a.m., vehicles with out-of-state license plates pulled up and unloaded boxes of ballots. And they were all for Joe Biden. But there's no election fraud to see here. We have November 4th, that two vans pulled into the garage of the counting room, and she thought it was for food. However, no food was seen coming out of these vans. And suddenly, Michigan had discovered over 100,000 more ballots. This complaint is going to blow the roof off of the election fraud. And I do think it'll get seen, and she will win in due time before December 14th. And we have poll challengers on November 4th at 4:30 a.m. After the 8 p.m. deadline, tens of thousands of ballots being brought into the counting room once again. And these affidavits, these people, do you think they're all lying? Why would they lie? Because at the time that all this was happening, they don't know the count, who's winning, who's not winning. And even if they did, the counters, they were breaking the law. The people who oversaw the counters were breaking the law. We also have a Dominion contractor that says over 20 machines that had two Democrats judging the ballots, resulting in an unfair process. Coming from a Dominion contractor. And she had more to say. This cannot stand. We as Americans must not back down. We, the people, cannot let this stand. We also have a report from Russell Ramsland Jr. showing the physical impossibility of nearly 385,000 votes injected by 4 precincts, as I said before. And this goes into a little more detail of it. But there's also a report from Dr. Eric Quinnell analyzing the 100% and frequently more than 100% of all new voters were for Biden. This is a physical impossibility. This cannot happen. And at the bottom of this page specifically, again, a witness who is an electronic intelligence analyst under the 305th Military Intelligence with experience in the SAM missile system, says the Dominion software was accessed by agents acting on behalf of China and Iran. This cannot stand. We must not let this stand. Not in America. We have Dominion with $25 million 10-year contract led by Kelly Garrett. I wonder how much of that money she got for approving that. I'm sure she got a lot. We have a Princeton professor who is testifying that I wrote that computer program into a memory chip, and now to hack a voting machine, you just need 7 minutes alone with it and a screwdriver. This was a few years back. And also, Russell James Ramsland has concluded that Dominion alone is responsible for the injection or fabrication of 289,866 illegal votes in Michigan. And there's way more to this complaint. I'm just trying to point out some of the big things that are in here. There is still more. This chart is showing the spikes, the incredible spikes that are for Joe Biden that are impossible. The system cannot handle it. But yet, we're supposed to believe that these spikes happened when they did not. And I'm not going to read the whole thing on this complaint right here, this paper right here. But basically, who I believe this witness is Ron from Twitter. I do believe that. Ron had mentioned before about reading over the manual, and it is in this complaint that this witness, just from reading over the manual, has discovered a lot of things about where the ballots go. And if you want to take a second to pause this and read it, you can. It's very incredible. It's easy. Everybody knows how to use Windows. These votes go into simple folders. Blank ballots go into simple folders, or then they have to transfer them to a USB drive, where they could easily be deleted by simply taking it to recycle bin in Windows. It's very, very easy. And all this information was available on their manual. And no one seemed to think that this would be a security risk. And these Democrats did it behind everyone's back. This is going to be the last slide I show here, but it's basically talking about the spikes again and the impossibilities of those spikes. And it just goes into a little more detail that I thought maybe you guys would like to read. Now, I want to say this. We need to call our representatives in PA, Michigan, the legislators. They need to do something. We have one guy in Michigan standing up. Or excuse me, PA standing up. Doug Mastriano. We need more patriots like him. If we have more patriots like him to stand up, then we, the people, are in charge. And I still believe that we, the people, are going to win